Oh, hello.
Hey,
Can you hear us?
I can hear you loud
I can't
and
hear you.
clear.
Hang on.
I can hear you.
And you can
A
hear
little bit
us.
too loud for me.
Too loud. You're such a teenager.
Teenagers.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Just tune down a smidge.
Oh, I've got tinnitus. I've been going to rock concerts my whole life. I can't hear. Are you ready to join the argument?
I'm ready.
Okay, right.
Where's my beer? For fuck's sake. Oh, I need to chill now.
So you, I'm drinking.
What? Oh, should we start?
What are you doing?
You on water?
That's vodka, that lad.
Oh,
shit. How long have you been on that?
About 5 minutes, to be fair.
just straight?
I'm drinking, yeah, just straight with ice. It's how the Russians rock.
It's the only thing Craig does do straight, but...
Your beard.
So you've been up since 3 o'clock this morning, I believe.
Yes. The life, trials and tribulations of a train driver.
I think I was in bed by 3.
Um,
Well, yeah, we're in a different venue tonight because my wife is downstairs doing stuff. So we're
My wife.
fucking hell. I need to chill. Right, I've got to take a couple of minutes to chill because I get this when it's a different setup. I get really stressed, don't I? And just like rushing around trying to kind of.
I think you just get stressed no matter what.
Well,
Who's the rockers on the wall behind?
we've got Supernatural on one side and My Chemical Romance on the other. This is actually my daughter's room, but she's in Aberdeen doing panto all week with her student chums.
Wow.
So yeah, there's 6 of them sharing a 3-bedroom flat at the moment. But
What could possibly go wrong?
well, yeah.
Right, shall we do the intro?
He's taking charge now.
Go on then.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Is that my beer?
No, it's not, you
Yes, it
dildo.
is. Yours is over there. You cunt.
That looks dead big in his tiny little hands.
That's what she said.
Oh, you're sick.
Is this professional?
Yes.
Okay.
Why is he being professional?
It's just the pretense so that they don't get... So they get lured into thinking that this is a tight ship, and then we just start talking bollocks. Hello, Internet. I'm Firebolt,
And I'm the Orbiter.
and today, and what?
And
And I was
I
about to say.
am the... Who did I say it was? Oh, the Podfather.
that's about as slick as usual.
Did you just come up with that? By the way,
Yeah.
cool. Also known as Craig, generally known as Craig.
Hello.
Of the After Dark Network.
Yes, I.
Famously known for all sorts of shit. My Bench, Diz After Dark, Universal After Dark.
Have you been on Better Call Paul before? Or
You still doing Morlando?
I've just resurrected Morlando.
Oh, and everybody's got one as well.
Everybody's got one, yeah.
And a 1-episode wonder of that Askew review. So far.
Yeah, we're going to try and get 2 out in January.
Cool.
It's very hard.
So I
you
hit
do a lot of.
As the nun said to the bishop.
You do a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, I do too many podcasts, and when life gets on top of me, I spit my dummy out and shut all the podcasts down, and then slowly, when I get my head screwed back on, I resurrect them. Me podcasting life is up and down.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen with Better Call Paul. That's been a few weeks, but it'll come back at some point.
Shit happens.
Yeah,
it's life.
I'm trying to work out because we've got 2 of you on our screen. There's 2 Craigs.
2 me's.
Pardon me. Sorry.
Oh, imagine 2 me's and a paddling pool full of mud.
Why would I want to?
See,
just for all
right, okay.
the lady listeners.
See, if you could clone yourself,
yeah,
would you?
Yeah.
I mean, would you? You know,
This is a big question
with yourself. Would you
to drop on us?
Would you get it on with yourself?
Probably.
See?
Because any hole's a goal.
And you'd know what you like as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, risk.
Disappointing.
Yeah, but you get used to that as you get older.
Older. I've just had a thing come through to open the front door.
A thing?
Yeah. Someone outside.
Oh.
Oh, dear.
Oh.
Hey up. You're in Liverpool, aren't you?
Yeah.
Might get stabbed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here's me brother-in-law.
We're getting a surprise
podcast.
guest.
Oh, dear.
See, I told you it was a risk.
This is a risk. He's a knobhead. We've locked up for the night. I don't know why he's here.
Yeah, go on, fuck off.
I can't open my new door. Oh, hi, Phil. Oh, cakes, Phil.
Yeah.
I'm just recording a podcast. Say hello, Phil.
Hi.
Yeah.
Derby cake delivery man I am now.
Oh, cake boy.
Cake.
Does he deliver 2-inch?
Cake
Oh.
nonce.
See you later.
See you later, Phil.
Yeah, you're right. He is a cock, isn't he? Does he
There we
listen?
go. No, he doesn't. He doesn't do anything. He just plays. He just plays golf and works and has babies. He's got 4 kids.
Oh.
He's got a dick like a fucking tarantula's eyeball.
You've had a tarantula walk on your hand, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. We did that at Butterfly World
Well,
near Edinburgh.
It put a few of its legs on my hand.
Yeah.
Right, you
shit.
say you wanted to talk a bit about the election.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we did an election special, but we're recording
can't-
these a bit bunched up, so...
Well, I can't wait to listen to your election special. We're obviously in the future, so the world might have ended before this comes out.
Yeah.
But
You
Oh yeah,
never know.
welcome to the 20th to the what? To the raid the fucking hell, I
20s.
can't speak. The 20s, yeah.
yeah, the 20s,
Are
the roaring 20s.
Are the flapper girls coming out now?
Oh, I do love a good flappy girl.
This is
So
going to
the-
devolve quickly, isn't it?
yous two are
Speaking of which,
the two most politically switched on people.
do you
That
think?
oh yeah, no, you are. I love listening to the debates you have because once you get past all the farting and burping, you do have some serious, proper, good backwards and forwards. I love it. I suppose you're both staunch Labour people like myself.
It's kind of difficult. I mean, we've got a bit of extra options up here because we've got the SNP, and that's actually the best, well, at least in our area, the best option to get Tories out. So,
If the SNP hadn't have stood in Scotland, though, would Labour have won them seats?
it's difficult to tell. Not our seat.
I would have
don't
voted
think.
for him.
Not our seat. I think...
I think Lib Dems would have been the next best bet here. But
yeah, but this, I doubt they'd
but
win still.
they're kind of on their arse everywhere, aren't they? So
Well, yeah.
I mean, I loved the Labour manifesto. I love Jeremy Corbyn.
yeah,
I
I
do.
think he's had a raw deal, but
I think he's a victim of his own. He's just a nobody from the backbenches who has been politically active all his life and stood.
Yeah.
You know, he's voted against Labour governments, a record number of times.
But what really annoys me here, and no one seems to really talk about this none of the main people that I've seen seem to really talk about this, is that Labour basically lost this because they had principles and didn't lie their way to leadership.
Yeah, and it was this anti-Semitic thing. I get the fact that he's not anti-Semitic, but he might be enabling people within his own party to be anti-Semitic. However,
but when your opponent has been blatantly racist in print,
Yeah.
and did you see the footage of his dad on election night on Channel
we watched
4?
it. We watched it live.
Most of the thing on Channel 4.
That was horrific with Nish Kumar and Judge Rinder.
Yeah, And he
It's
was, was he pissed?
He was, I don't know, but
I think they must all be all the time.
Because he just didn't seem to give a shit what he was saying.
No.
And the shock, and he was just grinning.
I'm not going to name names, but his demeanour reminded me of someone that we know of a similar kind of age group that just seem to just have their own view and not like realise how it comes across and not really care how other people see it and whether or not it's right. It's just right for them, and they don't listen. Do you know what I mean? It's
I mean, to me, I don't know if we've spoken of this in the past, but we're on the cusp of something horrific and fantastic. Both, you live in history at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, see, since last episode, what has happened over the last couple of days is we now have two cabinet members who are not elected.
Yeah, which because that's happened in the past, but they lost their seats.
I don't understand how that can be a thing, though. I mean, how can you have people in the central government that are
stood down from her seat? But I think the thing that people are quite annoyed about is that she did that interview repeatedly saying 50,000 more nurses, and that's basically why she's been given it, for basically sacrificing herself to do that interview. And Goldsmith did lose his seats to the Lib Dems.
Was Boris Johnson an MP when he was the Foreign Secretary?
I think so, yeah.
Because hadn't he been Lord Mayor?
He was Mayor for a while, wasn't he?
So he couldn't be an MP and Lord Mayor.
I think...
but at least a mayor's elected. Like Nicky Morgan and who's the other one that you're saying? Zach Goldsmith. They've just basically been given lifetime peerages so they can stay on.
I mean, right, on the strength of...
is that not a conflict of interests anyway? Because any legislation that goes through the House of Commons then has to go to the House of Lords. So if they're sitting in the House of Lords...
Oh, he's manipulating the House of Lords now to get everything passed through.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he's doing. By the time this goes out, we've probably signed off on Brexit, I would imagine.
Well, yeah. Also, unsurprisingly, I think a lot of Tories were hoping, a lot of the more centrist Tories, if there's such a thing, were hoping that it would become more moderate. And surprise, surprise, he's not going to fucking do that because it goes against literally everything on record.
Well, no deal's back on the table now. He's going to put that in law.
And also, he's rolled back on promises to protect workers' rights and environmental protections in the deal.
I think what needs to change is proportional representation.
Definitely. But that's not going to happen from the Tories.
No, it isn't, because all their seats are safe and they move boundaries in the constituents to get stuff done, to keep people in power and whatever. And it wouldn't have made a difference in this election. However, whether it was the Dutch or the German style of government and voting, they still wouldn't have they wouldn't have had a majority in both of them. But I'm in a seat here in West Derby in Liverpool, which is staunch Labour, 33,000 votes for the Labour man, and the next lowest, I think, off the top of my head, was about 3,000.
Right.
So I've actually left the Labour Party. I was a paid-up member of the Labour Party. I've resigned from the Labour Party because while we're talking politics and all this shit, Mother Earth is coughing up blood and dying.
Yeah.
So I've signed up to the Green Party.
All right, okay.
Fair.
And although I'm still a union member, I'm a member of ASLEF, I still believe in the principles of Labour. I'm now putting my support behind the Green Party to bloody the nose of Labour and the Tories. I mean, I've got maybe 15 years left in work. I'm 45.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll see a Labour government in my working lifetime now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
It's just depressing.
But what you've got to do is you can't wallow in it.
Yeah.
You've got to get on with your life. You've got to fight when you can. You've got to stand up in your local community and help people worse off than yourself.
Yeah.
You've got to hold councillors to account. You've got to speak to your councils about everything that isn't right. Potholes, everything.
Where are you on Scottish independence?
I think it's despicable. Right. Well, this is a contradiction because Nicola Sturgeon wants a new referendum on leaving Europe, but she's already
leaving the UK.
Well, is it on leaving the UK or on leaving Europe?
Leaving the UK. Oh, she wants
support both.
Yeah. She wants a British referendum, but I mean, IndyRef 2 would be Scotland.
But she's already had a referendum on both of them, and I voted to leave the EU, and I'm a prime example. Again, I think we've talked about this. I should never have been given that vote because I'm an idiot. I'm the general public. I am like everybody else. I voted to leave the EU for no other reason than a Tory Prime Minister, one of Thatcher's children, was telling me to stay and remain. Even though Jeremy Corbyn was telling me to stay and remain, I
never thought of that.
So I shouldn't be given the vote. Do you know what I mean? Because I've read up. I listen to Brexit Cast every week. I read up about what's happening, and it is absolutely catastrophic what it is doing to our children.
You see, what upsets me the most about it, though, really, is that it seems that with the result of the election, it seems that the majority of people put the priority more on that than they do on actually looking after the more unfortunate people in society. It's more important to get out of Europe than it is to save lives to a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, if Boris Johnson had a pair of bollocks, what he would do is he would call another general election once we've left Europe.
Yeah.
Not with this majority, you wouldn't, though.
No,
but he should.
No need to.
A principal person should, but anyone in that office probably wouldn't.
His whole agenda during the election was get Brexit done. The policies are bullshit. It's all fucking fake. But he should call another. He won't because his majority is substantial, and now he's got a mandate to do whatever he wants. He's going to break what's left of the unions.
I'm worried about what's happening. I mean, up here, obviously, we've got marches planned for the 11th of January. Glasgow and Inverness, I know already. Independence marches for Scotland. But I know Northern Ireland, for the first time ever, is now more... there's more nationalist MPs than there are unionists now for the first time ever, which means, ironically, that their power-sharing government might actually get back together after years of fucking about. So...
The upsetting thing for me with Scottish independence is it's England ruling over Scotland. That's how it comes across.
Mm.
We're not united. We are the paymasters, and Scotland is below.
Which is ironic because England's the only country in the Union that doesn't have its own government.
And Scotland they shouldn't even have a vote, right? They should just give them independence. Or Scotland should just take independence. I don't know why Scotland can't just say, no, I'm sorry, no, we're just independent now.
Yeah. Well, Catalans have tried that, haven't they?
Yeah.
Is England going to invade Scotland, really?
Well...
It's just complicated legal stuff, and I think the SNP would want to have a referendum anyway, no matter how much they want independence.
It was complicated legal stuff when they took the Berlin Wall down.
I guess.
Yeah.
You know, that was just a catchy song and a load of people standing on a wall.
Wind of change.
Yeah. I can't whistle.
You don't know
David,
song, do you?
David Hasselhoff in his undies.
He's a big thing over there, isn't he?
Yeah. He's a big thing everywhere, let's be honest. So anyway, that's enough of politics.
Yay.
Love thy neighbour, respect their views, and move on and get on with your lives. There you go.
Yeah. Do that stuff.
Yeah, do that stuff.
and drink beer and vodka while you're doing it,
Yes,
and pick your nose.
And speak truth to power.
yes.
Okay. Now what do we do? You see that you come to the end of a bit of a conversation. You're like, okay, let's move on. But where to?
Well,
Risk.
I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you, actually, having you on before we moved. Sorry, I should have handed over in case you had anything to say, but I won't. I wanted to ask you. I know this is where it could get a bit deep. I know you've had time off work in the past due to issues that train drivers sometimes have to deal with people jumping in front of trains and stuff like that. But have you ever? This is to do with risk. Do you ever have any issues with people playing chicken across the tracks at all?
Surprisingly, not. We don't. You don't see trespassers.
All right. Okay.
You did when I was on Merseyrail. When I was a guard on Merseyrail, it was terrific. It was amazing. I'd be sitting in the back of the train, and as we went past somewhere, all the bushes would become alive with people just using the railway as a crossing point to get from
All right.
one.
I thought you meant shagging.
No, just getting from one side to the one street on one side of the railway to the other street.
Yeah.
But on the West Coast Main Line, in general, if you do see somebody who's not supposed to be on the line, I mean, I can't even remember the last time I seen a trespasser. It's got to be 10 years. So what's happened is every station south of Rugby they've employed Network Rail agency staff to patrol the platforms.
Right.
Because them platforms south of Rugby are all 125 mile an hour platforms.
All right. Yeah.
So we're flying through there, and people were jumping quite. There was like one a day at some points of the year.
Shit.
So now there's staff manning the platforms and raising the alarm.
Yeah.
And this is all. It's not because they give a shit about people. It's because the cost of the service disruption costs hundreds of thousands of pounds for each suicide. So it's cheaper to employ staff.
Fucking bleak, though, isn't it?
Well,
I remember this when I was on the train on the way in, when I was taking that course in Aberdeen on the way into college, and we had must have been about an hour's delay in the rush hour, and listening to people moaning about because the announcement came through to say that they were having to stop because there was a person on the track, and listening to people moaning about it, and I'm thinking like, yeah, okay, so we've been delayed in our day, but this person could literally be at the end of their tether. Do you know what I mean? This could be like life and death to them. And
I mean, you don't kill yourself because it's all mental health. It's all linked to breakdowns and whatever. And I mean, sometimes it can just be a very bad argument.
Yeah.
And people just go out and kill themselves. And I've been involved in two. The first one, I had 3 months off. He was still alive,
right?
And it was horrific. Without going into too much detail.
Yeah.
And then the second one, I was indirectly involved. I was on my way home, and a train had hit him, and he was just. What I seen was unbelievable. You can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Put it this way, they get it wrong in the films.
Right.
That's not what it looks like in the films. Real life is far more horrific.
Yeah.
But the first one, I had 3 months off. I drank a bottle of whiskey. I had antidepressants. I sobbed. I sat up all night. I had flashbacks.
I remember you saying, was it Tainted Love you listened to on repeat for about an hour or something at one point?
Yeah. Because I was in
the Marilyn Manson version, yeah?
The Marilyn Manson, with headphones like what you're wearing.
Yeah.
Big headphones, nice and loud. And it just sort of put you into a trance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it's quite helpful sometimes to just disappear into music.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't remember what the medication I was given was, but I only had it for about 3 days because I mean, this didn't happen, but this is what it felt like. So I would wave goodbye to my wife as she went to work. And before I'd shut the door, she was coming home from work. That's what it felt like.
Okay.
Do you know, like with whatever the medication was he'd put me on,
Yeah.
it was like a dream state. It was like suspended animation.
Right.
And I knew I wasn't bad enough that I needed it, so I come off it after about 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't like to say what the medication was because I can't remember, to be honest. But then the second time, I actually helped evacuate the station, and then I walked down the track to the train to see how the driver was. I spoke to our control and everything like that. And as I was walking down the track, I phoned my wife, to say I'm going to be a little bit late for my tea.
Yeah.
And she shouted at me because it was the one and only time she cooked me tea for me.
Oh.
And that night, I had a whiskey, not a bottle of whiskey, and I went back into work the next day. So
That's strange, isn't it?
yeah,
Like, what a difference. But
it's coping mechanisms, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we had a gentleman on Merseyrail who was involved in 3 suicides in quick succession, and he didn't go off sick because he was on a temporary contract. He didn't want to lose his job,
Right.
and his cat died, and he went to pieces. You know, so
Yeah. Weird.
weird indeed.
Anyway, shall we lift the tone a little? Sorry, I
Yes.
started on a downer there, didn't I?
I don't know. There's a lot-
Risk.
Yeah.
Risk.
When I was at college
Oh. Oh no.
Dun-dun-dun.
in London,
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
I remember
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
I don't know what's going on.
climbing up through getting pissed and then and probably stoned, climbing up through the loft of the house that we lived in Wembley, through the skylight in the loft, climbing up on the roof, sitting on the chimney stack, and smoking God knows what, looking down like on top of a semi-detached house for a laugh.
Could have killed me.
I could have literally consigned you to oblivion because you would have never existed.
Yeah, that's a mindfuck.
I mean, there's been a couple of times that I've thought like maybe accidents could have happened that could have ended it for me, and that wouldn't have happened. But these were risks that I deliberately took.
Why did my life have to be in the hands of someone so irresponsible?
Yeah, but risk, I mean, everything we're doing here now has been risk assessed somewhere.
Yeah. Let's
The
face it,
headphones you're wearing.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
completely eliminated risk from your life, you'd never be born. You certainly wouldn't go out the front door. Because,
Well, you wouldn't wipe your arse, you wouldn't brush your teeth, you wouldn't have a shower because there's a risk you might scald yourself. You wouldn't use your toothbrush because you might gouge your eye out. You wouldn't wipe your arse because you might chafe.
You wouldn't talk to strangers on the internet that you've never met just in case you end up getting knifed.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know why that one came into my head. Or do I?
Who's been doing that?
What?
No idea.
Talking to strangers. Don't never talk to strangers, especially Scouse ones.
Oh, right, okay. What happened to your K-Tams menu project, by the way?
No one fucking wanted one.
I posted photos. I was up for it.
I can't remember. I can't remember what it was. What did they ask for?
You posted K-Tams menus out, presumably not to just me, to other people as well, and you wanted photos of the menu
Yeah.
in famous landmarks or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
What landmark did you take it to?
Well, it wasn't famous. It was in front of a church in Aberdeen. I held it up. And,
I guess it's the most famous landmark that Aberdeen really has.
yeah. Most of the churches
best,
in Aberdeen are nightclubs now, but
the best one was the Baltimore Beauty. There's only 2 of you who've asked for little Amber from Baltimore. She took it to a baseball game and various things.
So
Top
what's the biggest risk you've ever taken? Firebolt.
Oh, that's personal.
It doesn't have to be. But
Well, it is. Risk. I suppose actually, relatively recently that I
standing up and getting your maracas out at an inappropriate moment.
what? No,
Standing up on stage and getting your maracas out at the wrong moment.
it's fine. That was a music thing.
He did a concert and stood up to play the maracas, and then the conductor made him sit down because it was the wrong piece.
Wasn't conductor.
Oh, no
Wasn't it?
way.
I don't
Yeah,
think
but-
many people know. I mean, someone in the second concert actually walked on that wasn't playing in the middle of the thing, so I doubt I was the worst then.
Yeah, sorry, carry on with your risk thing.
Right. Probably actually trying to apply for uni next year. Because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Is that a risk, though? I mean, what could happen?
I don't know. It's just sort of the unknown, I guess.
I never thought of that. I suppose, yeah, risk can be a positive thing rather than a negative thing, can't it? I mean, like,
I don't think so.
no?
I've read the definition of risk before, and it's about putting yourself in danger, basically, or
All right, okay.
losing something precious to you.
Hang
It's
on.
not I don't think there's positive risk. That's surely something else altogether.
Probably.
I'll look up a definition of it.
You do that. What about you? What's the biggest risk you've taken, Mr. Podfather?
In the last 3 years, I'd say getting on my bike every day and riding the mean streets of Liverpool in and out of work.
Have you got a nice helmet?
I've got a lovely helmet. It's all shiny and blue.
Ah,
Exposure to chance of injury or loss, a hazard or dangerous chance.
ah.
But
So-
there's also in the verb to venture upon, take or run the chance of. It's sort of where the negatives, if it doesn't play out well, would be a lot worse.
Well, see,
there.
I'm sorry to bring it back to politics, but that is pretty much the biggest risk that our country's taken, like for as long as people can remember, is the EU thing, isn't it? The Brexit thing. That's a massive risk. Leaving.
I mean, we've done a lot of stupid things as a country, so no.
Yeah, I suppose.
I think we are the only country in Europe that hasn't got over World War II.
Quite
I
possibly.
don't know. I think France still might have some hang-ups there.
Yeah, but they're in bed with Germany. Literally, Germany dry bombed France to within an inch of its life in the Second World War.
Mm.
Yes.
And they're all bed partners now.
Fucking hell, we're back onto politics.
It always comes back to it.
How far right do you think England or the UK could go?
Right-wing fascism always rears its head during times of depression and political, when there's been a big crash or something like that. So Germany after World War One was basically bankrupted and not in a very good place. And right-wing political groups, not just Nazis, there was hundreds of right-wing groups looking for somebody to blame for the loss of World War One, and it just happened that all the financial ruin of Germany was all attributed to the Jews. So next thing, your Jewish neighbour, who had been your best mate and you're having barbecues with, becomes your enemy.
See,
Nothing like that's happened in the UK, though, has it?
There's plenty of video footage on buses where people are calling out people.
I found myself getting. I haven't really done this in the past, but I kind of recently thought, fuck it, I'm going to stand up for what I think, but in the most stupid place of doing it, on social media. And I was calling someone out on a conversation, and then suddenly I found myself in this long to and fro, back and forth with two guys that I'd never met before, who were coming out with some of the most worrying to me stuff that you think, like, how does this happen that people can be that kind of? I mean, the name calling started straight away, not from me, from them. I just put my point of view across quite strongly, but I wasn't kind of insulting to anyone. But suddenly I was being called a total knob and stupid and this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking, I mean, it was to do with the decline of the NHS and that, and I was being accused of blaming the SNP's failures in the NHS up here on the English.
Don't you think the NHS though is the biggest white elephant? It's the biggest distraction because it comes up in every general election now. And the NHS, when I was a kid, I went into hospital to get my tonsils out.
Yeah.
Right. I was in hospital for a week. The hospital I was in, Walton Hospital, had kitchens, and all the food was prepared in the kitchens.
Yeah.
It had their own cleaning staff, and obviously, I can remember I was about 7 when I got my tonsils out, but I knew the cleaners. My food come up. I can remember there was a little menu, and what I picked was served to me. And
it's all subcontracted now, isn't it?
It's all subcontracted. So that is privatization.
Yeah.
It's already right. I went to hospital. I know we're in 2020 now. Happy New Year. And twice I went to hospital for 2 things. I went to my doctors for 2 things. One was arthritis. I've got arthritis, and the other one was IBS. Right. Now, both, I just said to the doctor, here's my symptoms. He referred me. He was a locum, so he doesn't give a fuck about the budget, so he referred me. I went to 2 separate private hospitals, one in St Helens for my arthritis, and one in the centre of Liverpool for me arthritis. Yeah. Sorry, for me arsehole. So the NHS is already lost.
Yeah.
It's gone. Richard Branson, Virgin, is already, you go and Google it, Virgin Health or whatever it's called, they're already running clinics down south.
Yeah. Well, they actually tried to sue the NHS.
No, they don't try. They do.
Well, yeah.
It's a revenue stream.
But they sued the NHS because I think they were trying to pull them up on something they'd done within their units.
Yeah, and they win. So that they're taking money out of the NHS for their shareholders.
But that's what happens when you when capitalism goes unchecked, I think, is because business regulations are loosened because they want to give as much freedom as possible to corporations. And
they want to take the responsibility off the state and give it to corporations.
Yeah.
That's why I work within a privatised railway. Is a privatised, our shareholders on the company I no longer work for, Virgin, got dividends every year.
Yeah.
Virgin, if you have a look at historically who the shareholders were for Virgin, it was only 2 people. But they would get taken out 50+ million every year.
Yeah.
Well, that money could have been pumped back in. No train company owns its trains.
No.
They're all leased from train leasing companies.
But interestingly enough, actually the Dutch government owns ScotRail, which is the main rail company up here.
Yeah, they own Merseyrail as well.
Yeah, and I think the German government owns a few things as well. And
well, that's going to go well when we fuck off and leave the EU, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, our new company, Avanti, is First Group, who used to be ScotRail, and Transitalia, the Italian National Railway.
Who were the ones that bought Greyhound in America? Was that First Group?
First Group, yeah.
Yeah.
And the school buses, they run all the yellow school buses.
All right.
The Virgin trains had about 3,500 employees. Tiny in comparison to First Group. First Group have got over 100,000 employees. The massive. But, I mean, the NHS, getting back to the NHS is gone. It's already gone. You can't get it back.
Well, this argument that I was having, I was saying that like I'm supposed to get a yearly checkup for this condition that I've got. It is actually cancer, but it's the most benign form apparently. It manifests as like eczema kind of condition symptoms. But I'm supposed to get a check over every year, and it's been over 2 years since the last one. And I know somebody who works at Aberdeen Hospital, and apparently they've only got 3 specialists left in dermatology because they've all just gone. And apparently I'm blaming the English for the Scottish government's failure in recruiting people when there's nobody to recruit. You know, because everyone I saw before that, when I went on a yearly basis, was from somewhere in Europe. I don't know if there are any British specialists here that do that. You know,
this is the thing. With again getting back to Brexit, we're cherry picking now. We were going to allow in. It's going to be a point system that he's imposing.
But did you not say they've got to be able to earn over 32 grand a year or something?
Yeah, but we need people in the fields picking our food, because the Englishman is a lazy fat bastard.
Well, apparently we've just sent the teenagers out doing that, haven't we?
Yeah, but the teenagers now, they're all I mean, my 15-year-old is upstairs. If you said to her, go and pick asparagus for £6 an hour, she wouldn't know where to begin.
Well, this is why we need to bring back conscription. So we need a good war, and then we'll be fine.
The next war will be 2 big bellends pushing buttons from opposite sides of the world, and we'll all get vaporized.
I mean, that's essentially what war is now. It's online.
Yeah, it's a propaganda war.
The only deaths are democracies.
Oh, that's profound.
Why can't we, have all the nerds fighting our wars online?
They do, only a lot of them have been radicalised into fascists by now.
Or paid.
Just get EA to sponsor it instead of doing all the hacking that they do. You know, a big tournament, and whoever wins is the king of the world.
A merger of esports and international governments.
Well, they do have that, because there's ethical hacking. Companies actually employ hackers to basically find their own weaknesses so that they can defend against them.
Putin v PewDiePie, that would work. Or Nerdcubed v Bojo.
What are you talking about?
Esports, World of Warcraft, something or other. I have no idea.
Fucking boss.
I've run out of beer.
Do
you do what?
This is just quite
World of Warcraft.
Do you want some vodka?
Yeah. Shove some through the camera for us.
Don't.
That's disturbing.
Just funnily enough, on the dictionary.com page for risk, the advert that we've got is travel to the US has never been easier, and it's for esters.
Oh, there you go.
That's just a bit ironic, isn't it?
I mean, last year I took a massive risk and I moved my family.
Yeah.
I risked me 15-year-old's mental health because she's a very clingy, sentimental type of character. So she didn't want to move. That was the house she was born in.
Yeah.
And it's caused, I've put her GCSEs at risk, basically.
That's got to be a big thing, hasn't it? Like, uprooting from the place that you've always lived your whole life.
Yeah. So was that fair? Yeah, it was fair because the risk up to now has paid off.
Yeah.
She's just had her mocks back, and they're all 8s and 9s. So she's getting through it. She's working through it.
Character building.
I don't know the English system. I'm assuming that's good.
It's A's and A pluses, is it?
Oh, we do it the opposite way round, where 1's actually the best score you can get.
Oh, I do love Scotland.
Yeah, they do it the opposite way round up here.
What?
We do it the opposite way round up here.
You just do everything the opposite way round up there. That's why it's fucking boss.
Yeah. He goes to... do you know where Findhorn is? Findhorn.
No.
It's up... It's about 50, 60 miles up the coast from us.
Yeah.
He goes there on holiday regularly.
We're not now.
No.
The gentleman,
Oh.
the house we stayed in, it's gone. He sold it.
Oh, you didn't stay on the site. The sort of, what is it?
We did. Yeah, we did this year.
All right. Okay.
But next year we're at.
I don't know what that place is. It seems to be like some kind of almost like a hippie commune, but like I don't know. It's like a big caravan park thing, but they have like these communal areas and.
Yeah. So we got our Asda delivery on the Saturday night in the house in Findorn, and she said, "Oh, you're up for the big religious thing at the caravan site?" And there was a big religious Jesus speaker. I mean, I go to church. I don't throw it down anyone's neck. I just get on with my life.
Yeah.
But she thought we were all up there for a big Bible bashing weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. It's strange.
Yeah. It's a fabulous little place, Findorn.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, we're at Arbeloa next year.
Yeah. That's probably nearer actually. That's who is it? Who is it as the shortbread factory there?
I have no fucking
Walkers.
It could be. It could be.
I think they do, because it's on the whiskey trail because there's a whiskey there, isn't there?
Yeah.
I've had the single malt.
Well, there we go then.
But risk.
Right, it's interesting talking about capitalism because a lot of people justify this massive inequality we see by saying the people at the top or the shareholders are the people taking the risk there. Now, I think that's bullshit because they're still going to be fine. Usually they are. Like when Thomas Cook went, the CEOs were paying themselves massive bonuses and drove the company into the ground, but they're still fine. Their workers aren't, probably. They've had to find other jobs and a lot of them probably struggled, but the guys at the top, fine.
Well, they just move on to another company, don't they? All the directors.
Yeah, it's glorified. I mean, it's just upper class gambling, though, isn't it? Really, it's just the bookies. The stock exchange is just like the bookies.
No, it's not really gambling. The likes of Rees-Mogg, for example, and all his little mates, his cronies in his in his upper echelons. They all know where to move the money to make the most from Brexit.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you phone up your financial advisor, he's not allowed to advise you, or your pensions advisor, or your share advisor. You've got to make the decision yourself.
It's like betting on a horse race after you've crippled all the other horses.
Yeah, they know where to. Their money is all in situ, ready for when we click over through Brexit, and they will. He made something like 17 million. This is the richest prime minister in our history. Did you know that?
Jesus,
great.
Boss, really?
Yeah.
Does that include like inflation? No, because I would imagine some of the earlier ones were like lords and.
Have a Google.
Okay.
Let your fingers do the walking, man. Oh, he's very Trumpy on these podcasts, isn't he?
Yeah, we're thinking of getting some what's the podcast version of like Smell-O-Vision? We could send out scratch and sniff cards.
Oh dear!
Just a bit of shit on a bit of paper.
Yeah, well, that's a cheap tier on Patreon, that isn't it?
Just a little ball of shit.
A Breaking Dad shit sniffer.
I mean, there was someone who started selling their bath water for like $30 on. I think it's $15 online. I think it was just water, but they said that it was.
I know people sell used underwear online.
That's got to be a risk, though, hasn't it?
What, selling it or buying it?
Buying it.
Yeah.
It's a perverse risk, but it's a risk nonetheless. What's the most riskiest thing you've ever done, Paul? Apart from the roof, I've done the roof thing as well. I've done that. I've been there.
I'd have to have a think.
Have you ever risked your entire family and
Well,
everything?
you kind of if I had, would it be wise to put it on a publicly available podcast?
I don't mean like shagging and that. I mean like moving house and moving your family.
Actually, I suppose a fairly major risk was moving to Scotland, wasn't it?
I mean,
Yeah.
you said to me that you married your wife, Star Stuff,
I proposed
almost
to her
immediately after meeting her.
I proposed to her the day after I met her, and we were married 3 months later.
That's a love story.
Yeah, we met online in the Muse band chat room, and we got chatting, and then by about a month later, we'd been on the phone and got on the phone, and I took the train up for the weekend and met her in a public place, and then we went back to hers, and I proposed the next day, and I think probably within about 18 months, you were along as our second child. No, it would be more than that, wouldn't it? No, it's about 20 months.
Yeah.
How long have you been married then?
We just had our 18th anniversary.
Fantastic. See, that's
and it's better than it's ever been as well. I mean, you go through ups and downs, but it's definitely been on and up for quite a while now. I think you go past the point where your youthful ideas of what a relationship is and should be change into a realization of what actually a long-term relationship is when you've both put that amount of time into it and what you've built. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a massive risk. What you did there was a massive risk. Proposing the day after you'd met, because she could have just said no and fucked you off.
Yeah, but I suppose it
was that a calculated
time?
Calculated risk?
I don't know.
Because you had nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose there, is there, in a marriage proposal?
No, not really, especially if you've only known each other for a day.
Except all your hopes and dreams, but whatever.
Yeah, but at that point in my life, I'd lost all of those anyway.
Fun.
So I would say it was probably a gamble. This was probably more of one of those positive situations rather than a I mean, I suppose the obvious risk would be if she turned out to be an axe murderer, and she still claims that she might be, just playing the long game. So
that's fair enough. Yeah, I'm with that.
The richest Prime Minister of the UK was the 14th Earl of Derby, Edward Stanley.
I don't even know where Derby is. I've been there once.
With £7 million.
What's Boris got then?
A really bad hairdo.
Yeah, really bad waistline.
What would you do if you met him in the street? If you got on your train and you met him, you're just walking through first class and he was sat there, what would you do? And you had to take his ticket. Well, what would you say to him?
Well, I don't do tickets, but no. He was up and
sorry, I didn't mean to demean you there.
He was up and down on our network during the general election,
right?
And some staff embraced him and some staff didn't. I wouldn't put myself in the situation. Because if you do anything, if you make,
just brought his photo up on the screen, and I just think, what a fucking knob! Just looking at his face.
If you make any sort of political stance against him in a pub, with the press there and everything like that, because the press are following him, and Virgin Trains employee gives the Prime Minister the finger, you've lost your job.
Yeah, I mean, you get that bit, but it's sort of the smear will be on you for some weird reason. It's like when he went to a hospital and I think it was the father of a sick kid.
He was born in New York.
Started listing everything he's done wrong to do with the NHS. And it's like, you've just come here for a press opportunity. He points to the press. It's like, there's no press here.
Yeah, definitely. And put that water off a duck's back.
And that's in the press, he gets smeared, and all they focus on is, oh, he was a labour activist. Well, of course he's going to fucking be, given his position.
Well, there you go. I mean, back in the day, Edwina Curry, what did she resign over? Something to do with eggs and salmonella?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No idea.
But she fell on her sword and resigned. Who was the one who was shagging in the Chelsea shirt? David Mellor.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. Resigned.
I don't know what it's going to take, though. I mean, it's like with Trump, isn't it? Even the impeachment shit that's going on, it's like, what is it going to take? Is anything going to actually remove them?
because we're in this right. People actually think they're affecting change by sharing a post on Facebook. Yeah. In the old days, people used to maybe sponsor or get out there and muck in with the local community and help with stuff. But now there's a little sick child or there's a little puppy needs a home. Oh, that's sad. I'll share it on Facebook.
Mm.
There's no risk involved in that. But it makes you look like a social warrior.
I reckon we're all addicted. Or, well, you probably aren't, but I think have. I want to. I mean, I need to use Facebook for some things for business because we've got like a page and all that sort of stuff. But I just find myself on the timeline and just getting wound up by stuff, and it's just like, it's an abusive relationship.
Just delete it. You can use Facebook pages for your business, not a problem. Then you've only got access to your own personal pages. Just delete it. I deleted Facebook from my phone. It's still on my iPad, so I still have a little bit of Facebook time at bedtime.
But can you access pages and get notifications and stuff without having an actual account? Like, without having your own home page kind of thing. I mean, I can take the icon off of my front screen and just set up notifications for the pages, but the app's still on my phone then.
The Pages app is only for the page, so for your page, for your business. So there's no risk involved then.
I've got the Pages manager, but that's just for
the one, yeah.
But that's just for the pages that I run. We've got a band page that I don't run, that I still need to get notifications from. But
you might still see that. I don't know. It's so addictive.
Yeah.
But it's what they want. It's what they want. I go with fits and starts with Twitter. I don't really use Twitter anymore. I do, but I don't. I do for the After Dark Podcast Network, where I share links to podcasts coming out. But I've shut down the Orlando Twitter because who gives a fuck? I've shut down the Two Tribes Twitter because who gives a fuck? It's all just noise.
You find yourself getting wound up by articles, and then after a while you think, am I actually even looking at something a person's written, or is this a bot, or is this somebody that's being paid to sow division, or,
Yeah. I mean, you've had the Cockwomble on your show, the Twitter warrior who...
Oh, God. He knows.
Yeah. What a fucking bellend that fella is.
You said it.
I did say it, and I'll say it to his fucking face, and I've said it time and time again to his face. But it's water off a duck's back with him. He just doesn't give a shit because he can hide behind his Twitter persona, and he can say what he likes, and he can do what he likes.
What happened to his news thing that he was doing?
He didn't, because he's too busy. So,
right.
But it's a lot easier to just say a few words on Twitter.
Yeah.
And whatever, if you said that sky was blue, he would say it was fucking grey.
That was about 3 hours long, that episode, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was dead funny, that episode, because you were dying on your feet.
Oh yeah, you see, if I could be asked, I would have him on again, but just to basically rip into. Does he listen to this?
I don't know. I don't. He doesn't. I don't. I think he's that far up his own ass. He doesn't listen to fucking nothing.
This is the After Dark Podcast Network. Although he's not got a podcast anymore, is he? So
no. Well, I sacked him.
Is he still on Pop After Dark?
No.
That's just Nick wandering along on his phone now, is it?
Yeah.
Getting
hobo.
Getting all the film opinions wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just found. I mean, it just seemed like someone at some point had hope and at some point believed in things. Now it just seems just eager to just say no to everything.
Yeah. He hates every political party because they're all shit. He hates everything.
I mean, I get that they're none of them perfect, and there's more could be desired out of. I mean,
Just seeing how long. I need more beer. We've only been going just over an hour. I need more beer.
out of all of them, I would say the Green Party is the only one I can think of that's done nothing particularly egregious.
I like their politics in the whole thing about them not. One of their manifesto things about bringing in legislation so that no organisation could pay their highest earners more than 10 times that of their lowest earners.
I mean, that just seems like common sense to me.
I know, but when you think about it, it's also probably extremely difficult to implement. It's a huge change when you think of something like a football club.
Yeah, or an actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Cruise. The fella who's just brought you the cup of tea is on $10 an hour, but you're on 100 million for this film. It wouldn't work.
No, you'd have to. Yeah.
Right.
You'd have to bring down the top wage. You couldn't put the bottom wage up. You'd have to bring down the top wage drastically.
I mean, that just seems fair. I mean, no one needs that much money. That's the thing. No one in their right mind would need that much money for themselves when there are people starving in this world.
Well, is it? I don't know if this is true because I heard it on The Customer Is Always Weird, but that a third of UK children are now in poverty.
Yeah, that's I'd checked when we were doing our election special.
Now, I think the definition, because they looked it up on the episode I was listening to, and the definition was if it's less than 60% of the median wage. Now, first of all, I need to work out what the median is, but I also need to point out, Ryan and co, that you made a mistake about the 50,000 nurses thing. They said that the Tories were claiming to be making 50,000 more nurses when they said 12,000 of them already existed. It was actually 19,000.
Yeah, it was 20, wasn't it? 20,000, yeah. Fuck you, Ryan.
Yeah. Bring it. Yeah, that was the other thing, because they said they were talking bollocks. Well, I'm referring back to our last episode now, aren't I? We were going to do a review at some point to get back at them for taking our slot, as it were. Meow. I'm making less and less sense now.
I like that noise. Do it again.
Meow.
Oh, I've always wanted to see that.
Right. Poverty-wise, the definition used by a number of international organisations such as UN and World Bank is that
Did you just fart?
As chair. You cannot afford the basic needs of life: food, clothing, shelter, and so on. And yes, 14.3 million people in the UK are in poverty.
How much beer have you got left?
I've finished my can.
Right. Is it going to be a risk if I leave my son with you?
Go for it.
Go and get more beer. Don't slag me off while I'm gone.
Oh, you know I will.
Oh, we will.
Make it nice stuff.
22% of people in the UK are in poverty.
That's what? How rich are we? Are we the fifth richest? The fourth richest?
Sixth now richest? Because India overtook us relatively recently. Not entirely undue to Brexit.
So we're the sixth richest country on the planet, and we're tiny. We are tiny.
That's largely off the back of the British Empire.
Yeah, definitely. And yet we've got people. I mean, we've got a family who sell the big issue outside our co-op at the bottom of the road there, and everybody bands together. They're from Romania. This family, Leo is his name.
Right.
And I buy him a loaf of bread every time I go in. And people actually fucking snarl at him.
Right. Oh, Jesus.
And this fella's standing there for 6 hours selling the big issue. You wouldn't do that if So that haircut, that's not a real haircut. Oh,
Who?
sorry, you're back. Nothing, doesn't matter.
I'm actually thinking about getting it cut short in the new year. What do you reckon?
Yeah, get a skinhead.
No, not that bad.
Oh, meow.
What are you doing?
Pretending to be a cockatoo.
I was going to say something else.
Pretending he's got a cock or two.
I don't have to pretend, darling.
Or two?
I wouldn't leave the house if I had two.
Oh dear.
Some people do, don't they?
Do they?
I'm sure there's people with two penises.
I'm sure it's pretty rare if there are. And please
Yeah.
do not Google this.
Well, can I incognito?
Not on my computer. You can do it in your own time. Thank you very much.
That's what incognito's for. I'm sure I've seen a picture of somebody with two penises.
Or it might have just
I'm
been,
sure you have.
or it might have just been a picture with two penises in.
Okay,
Yeah, it might have just been the press conference with Donald
see-
Trump and Boris Johnson.
apparently, because I'm old, I don't know how to Google properly. So would I? Does anyone have two penises?
No, don't just ask it a question. Just use keywords like
I have.
people with two penises.
Oh
Or-
shit! There I am.
or-
Diphallia is a genetic condition present at birth in which a person has two penises.
Right.
I'd love that.
It
It's
affects
pretty
about
rare.
1 out of every 5 to 6 million baby boys.
Do you have two penises and four balls?
Oh, there's a thing on
I
BBC
don't know if you
Newsbeat.
would.
There's a man with two penises has been speaking to Newsbeat about living with the condition. He says it's a rare condition, blah, blah, blah. It's graphic content that some people may find offensive. Special and unique, he says.
I bet you they can use it as a tripod.
Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it? Oh, wow. You could have a threesome with... Hang on. Let me work this out.
I don't think that's how that works.
With two of yous.
I imagine it'd be quite difficult to do a lot of things to do with sex.
Why?
Well, a lot of things become quite inconvenient there, like
Yeah, but you could
things going through the wrong tubes and
you could do you'd be ready made for DP.
DP.
One in the pink, one in the stink.
Right. Well,
So
I don't know about you, but I'm not that flexible.
I'm just trying to come up with some kind of appropriate response.
This has been quite risky.
It is.
Right, come on, back on risk.
Right.
Who hasn't? Yeah, that wasn't my biggest risk.
What?
Who hasn't done their biggest risk yet?
I think we've all done sort of.
So it's like truth or dare.
To be honest, my biggest
should
risk,
do-
I'm not comfortable talking about.
We should. No, me neither. We should do a live risk on podcast. We should all take a big risk on the episode.
I think you're a walking risk, Paul, I'll be honest with you. Because you're self-employed.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. I was misunderstanding you there.
No.
Well, I'm not, you see. I am my own boss, but I'm not self-employed. I'm a director of a limited company that I own.
Right. Yeah, but even that's a risk. Everything,
Yeah.
you know, I go to
Actually-
work and I get paid.
Financially, that was the biggest risk. Our holiday last year. That was the biggest financial risk I've ever taken. But it was worth it. It paid off. I'm still paying for it, but it paid off. Jesus Christ.
It's just sort of a question of what you value, but sometimes you don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
You're right there.
You did just fart.
No, it's just a chair.
Oh, shitty ass.
He's fallen asleep. He's been up.
I've been up. I don't even know how long I've been up.
19 hours?
Yeah.
19 and a half.
Oh, Siri's talking to me on my watch. Thanks, Siri. Fuck off.
Yeah, he's an Apple nerd.
I won't respond to that.
No.
I won't respond to that.
Well, you told her
Sorry.
to fuck off.
I did. Alexa, you can fuck off as well.
I'd rather not answer that.
Oh,
Very sassy computers today.
Alexa will kill me in my sleep now tonight.
I must admit, I prefer Alexa to Google. Okay, Google. Oh, shit.
Fucking hell.
Tell OK Google to fuck off.
Okay, Google, fuck off. I've not got the volume on, so it's... Oh, I have. It's just not speaking to me. Oh, fine. Be like that then.
Is it not a massive risk that we've all got these listening devices in every room in our house?
Yeah, especially when you like just having a private conversation with somebody, and then the next thing you know, an advert pops up for what you were just talking about on your Facebook timeline.
Does it?
Yeah, have you not had that happen?
No.
You're talking about something completely random and not even using your phone at the time.
I think that's more a case of that it just gathers so much data on you that it knows what you want and when. It just knows you better.
Do you know what freaked me out when I first got Android Auto with our car, and I plugged my phone into it, and now whenever I get in the car, the screen comes up suggesting places that I have been at the same time, like at different times in the past. And then I had an email the other week that basically listed everywhere that I'd been for the last month, and said, did I want to verify it? Like, it said I'd parked here, I'd walked from there to there, I drove from here to there, at what time it was, where I've been. They're just tracking you.
Oh, it's frightening, isn't it? But
it's helpful to a certain extent, but it's worrying that that information is in the hands of a corporation.
The main sort of reassurance there, and it's not a massive reassurance, is that your life isn't interesting enough for it to be worth much to anybody other than some fairly standard procedure.
Yeah, but that's because he's not a serial killer yet.
Well,
maybe I'm just a really good one.
What was his name? The one who used to put the bodies out at sea. He was on the telly.
I don't know. But have you watched that?
I'm not particularly well versed in my serial killers.
Have you watched that Netflix series on the guy that's still inside at the moment in America, Making a Murderer?
I've seen series 1.
Yeah, series. I think there's only 2 series, is there? But they'll be making a third at some point.
Yeah,
but
they
that's
sent him
fucking
to jail
ridiculous.
again, didn't they?
Well, he won. He won millions, and he was getting released, and then something happened, and he got sent back down. Oh no, I think he got out for a bit.
He did for a bit, yeah, but then they put him back inside.
But it was all so hard. What did he do? I think they probably did do it, but Americans are so bent that they'll plant fake evidence and everything.
Yeah.
It's just... There's a lot of corruption there. And not a massive... What the fuck are you doing?
I'm scratching my chin with my top teeth.
Why?
Because I want to, alright?
Okay.
So risk. Come on.
Gambling.
That's a fucking massive risk.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the main thing that I was actually thinking of talking about, but haven't actually got to it. Apart from like some brief bits to do with stocks, but
the winners are only the companies who entice you to gamble.
Well, that's the thing. House always wins. That's the saying, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true, but my brother used to go to the pub, and he used to come home with more than he'd took out with him regularly. Because he used to do this thing where he would sit basically near the fruit machine and watch it. Like, watch it for long periods of time while he was drinking. And knowing how much they pay out percentage-wise, he would watch people losing for a certain amount of time, and then he would jump on and get the jackpot.
Oh, dear.
What the fuck was that? Did you just put your phone up your arse?
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I can
for
smell
your
it.
sober. But he's a physics teacher. He's
I am
actually,
not.
No,
Oh, sorry.
your brother.
Yeah.
So he
And
actually knows what he's doing there. But most people gambling, I suspect, don't.
We're tempted to record a podcast from. We're going down
Not a podcast, a bob.
something, a bob.
What the fuck's a bob?
You have
That's
to
our
pay
exclusive
for it.
subscribers thing, which we've now dropped to $1 a month for Patreons because no fuckers bothered with any of it. But we do an exclusive video once a month where we just get pissed and just whatever.
Bob.
Yeah, we couldn't think of what to call it, and I just said, "How about Bob?" And that was.
I like Bob. Bobs are nice generally.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, we're going to his house on Christmas Eve and leaving on Boxing Day. But he has a hot tub in the back garden.
Ooh,
Right, we might.
that might be a risk getting in that water if they haven't changed the filters.
It's from what I remember, it's like pretty much neat chlorine. You come out with your eyes burning.
Oh well.
It's pretty chilly getting into it because it's outside, middle of winter, in your swimming trunks.
Swimming trunks.
Yeah, but by the time you get out there, you've got a big glass of whiskey in your hand normally.
Well, I
Well, you
probably
haven't.
won't.
Get on the whiskey, lad.
Although I'll probably have a lot more alcohol than I would have had there before because
I've got a friend who
used to
works
that.
at Macallan Distillery.
Oh, that yeah. Is that a blended?
No. It's a very,
Single?
very good single malt place. Yeah,
Oh.
I mean they probably do some kind of blended thing, but anyway,
Get
I
on it, lad.
I feel like I don't know what to talk about with risk. I could risk.
see, there's a lot of people sort of addicted to that rush of there's
Adrenaline.
something to lose there.
Did you think there was a risk when how old were you when we went to Oakwood? We used to be in the roller coaster club of Great Britain for a little while. Bunch of nerds that basically just go on these trips to. You're watching something, aren't you?
I had the footy. It's finished.
Who won?
Oh, we got beat 5-0.
Oh, that's a shame.
So
Yeah, we
Yeah,
went on this 200-foot high. What was it called? Sky coaster, sky swing thing. Basically, we strapped into this harness and hoisted up 200 feet, and then you pull the lever, and it just drops you like Superman. You just do this massive swing thing.
but where you live, in the out, it takes hours for you to get anywhere.
Yeah, that's annoying.
So you're in this coaster club. That's got to be a weekend given up.
Well, that was a week's trip. Yeah, it was a weekend for that, but we spent a week away. We went to Drayton Manor on the way down, and then a couple of days at Alton Towers on the way back, just because it was it's about 500 miles driving down for Christmas, so...
Fucking hell, a Scotsman singing about 500 miles.
It is, literally, it is 500 miles. The scariest thing about it was the first time I was doing it, though, was you realise that when you cross the border, you're halfway from our house.
But it's like Oakwoods in Wales, and they were like shouting out, "Who's come from the furthest away?" And some people were saying, "Oh, we've come from Cornwall, so far away." And it's just like, we've come from fucking north of Scotland, mate.
Yeah. Fucking Aberdeen bastards.
It's 30 miles to Aberdeen from where we are.
They thought we were nutters. I mean, half of them are anyway, but it's been a while since. We've not really done much with them anyway, so.
No,
Shut
we're
up,
not
money.
members anymore because
right.
I haven't bothered. But
What's your next risk?
Probably uni. That I'm willing to talk about. That's not that personal. It's quite general, I guess. I'm planning on doing that next year, and I'm not really sure if I'm ready, but I'm not sure if you ever really are.
So are you doing your A-levels now?
I'm doing, it's called Hires up here. I think that's roughly equivalent to A-levels. They're slightly different, but in terms of uni entry, they're about the same.
So is the risk, are you going to stay at home? Is Aberdeen got a university and whatnot? Or are you
they've
going
got
to go?
two.
They've got...
What?
Yeah.
Aberdeen have two universities.
They got Robert Gordon's, but they annoyingly... I mean, don't do physics apparently, which surprised me because they're quite a posh one. So that's University of Aberdeen. And
Where did the princes go, or one of them? Did one of them get a degree up there in Scotland?
I don't know. I know
probably Harriet Watt.
Gordonston School.
That's in Edinburgh.
They went to some of them.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
So, where would you like to go?
I'd like to go to Edinburgh because it's the only
Hairy
place
twat.
in what?
Hairy Twat University.
No, University of Edinburgh.
Harriet Watt.
No, not Harriet Watt. It's a different
Otherwise
one.
known as Hairy Twat.
It's the only university in Scotland that does a course on paleontology, which I'm quite interested in, but I don't know. It seems like I'm more geared towards physics, but we'll see.
Are they plastic ice cubes you got there?
Yeah.
Is that neat what you're drinking?
Yeah. I'll sleep tonight. This is a risk, drinking vodka neat.
When you're back behind the... do you have a wheel, or is it a lever or a joystick?
A power brake controller, yes.
When you're back
Thursday.
behind that? Thursday.
Yeah, day off tomorrow.
So when we finish at the cinema, you'll probably be getting up to go and play with your controller stick thing.
6 o'clock Thursday morning, I'm back in.
So probably not.
No.
You'll be in bed.
No. Yeah, we'll be back home about 3:30, I would think.
Is what the Disney company have done to Star Wars a risk? Or do you think ultimately it'll pay off?
I don't know. I haven't watched any of The Mandalorian yet. We are getting onto it, but we just watched through all of the movies, haven't we?
Yeah.
In preparation. Is it a risk? I think they think they can buy their way out of any risk. They can basically... I mean
they'll still make tons of money from it, whatever happens, because even
Still
if
interested
people
to know
don't
what they're
like
doing with
it,
Avatar.
they'll go to see it.
because that whole Avatar thing, obviously, I mean, I think the area in Animal Kingdom, I think, looks fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the special effects of the film when I saw it. But that was like back when digital first came out, that was the big thing, wasn't it? The 3D kind of, and Cameron did his usual kind of wonders with it, but
it's not a bad film, but it's not it's just a film.
It just feels kind of bland.
Yeah, it's just middle of the road. It's just it's a 5 or 6 out of 10.
Yeah, story wise, it's very, very eye candy. But I just think the whole idea of calling something unobtainium was a bad mistake.
Yeah,
that was.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Fucking dumb. But
I like the idea of being in. I mean, the premise behind it was an interesting thing, like being inside an animal.
We've all done it.
Have we now?
Well, I'm not being funny. You're in the Highlands of Scotland. It wouldn't surprise me.
Fuck off.
That's Wales.
You've got cows up there.
Yeah, I know, but would you a wild cow?
I've got a friend who's
Whoa.
Welsh and
they've got horns to hold on to.
No.
Oh yeah, him. Sheepshagger.
Yeah, we've had him on our channel. His nickname's Sheepman.
Does he wear wellies?
No.
Because you put the sheep's back legs in the wellies while you're wearing them so that you can't escape.
Well, oh yeah, that was the thing, wasn't it? Why do
you seem to know a lot about this?
I've only ever motted out a sheep. I've never shagged it.
What does motted out mean?
Oh.
Fuck.
No, but that was why do they take this? Why do the Welsh take the sheep to the edge of the cliff?
Why?
Because they push back harder. I feel like it's descending, but I don't care. Have we abandoned the subject yet?
I mean, well, all of this is kind of a risk with Craig. No offense.
I'm being quite sensible, I think.
What have we got coming up?
To be honest, you're actually a bigger risk, if I'm honest.
Me.
Yeah. Well, this
I did risk this after dark once by talking about fingering a dolphin on the show.
I remember that. The thing I'd noticed actually though, the last episode, I thought have you kind of abandoned the respectability a bit now? Because I thought the language was more genuine in the last episode I listened to. Although I haven't listened to nearly enough of them recently, but the last one
was I on it.
Yeah, but it was the early release version on Patreon, so maybe that gets edited out. I don't know.
Oh no, we don't do any editing.
No, there was a lot of swearing on it, which is not normally the case. I don't think with Dad, is it?
Yeah, sometimes I just like to push Nick's buttons.
He needs it.
If I feel a little bit risky, I'll drop a few F-bombs and whatnot, and a few innuendos and whatnot. Yeah. He's got somewhere. We did an episode of Dad that was so dark.
Dark,
yeah.
Because I remember back in the early days, there was a really good one with a porn fiction writer that does stuff about shagging in Disney.
Yeah.
What was the name of them? Something Blue.
Blue. I can't remember. Star Blue. Star Blue.
Don't know. But it was basically like fan fiction of people like shagging on It's a Small World and stuff like that.
Oh, you'll find that all over the internet. I mean, I hope you don't specifically.
Well, you obviously know already, so.
Yeah, but she read out excerpts from it.
She did, yeah. And listen, these guys in the background, you could hear the breathing getting heavier and heavier as she was going on.
And then Mickey presented himself, and my strap-on went straight up his arse.
It didn't sound like that.
Rule 34, don't look it up.
Rule 34?
Yeah, if you can think of it, there's porn of it.
What are the other 33 rules?
I don't know. Okay. It's just a site on... Don't look it up, because... Don't look it up.
I agree. I totally agree. Yeah, so this episode was so dark that it's in the vault somewhere.
Disney after Extra Dark.
Yeah.
But that was why I first started listening to it, was because it was... I mean, like, I was doing the research for a holiday, but it was different. It was like, yeah, this is a bit more interesting because it's like, it's actually a laugh and it's grown-ups talking.
Fucking hell, that's weird. You just researching for a holiday is basically the reason we're part of this network.
And why we're taking the risk we're taking now.
Well, yeah.
there
So,
you go.
In another way, that risk wasn't just about winning the memories of a lifetime with the holiday itself, but it paid off in terms of this guy looking like a fucking drunk ferret.
I've got all my cheeks have gone red.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah, so occasionally I will take things a bit dark, but I try not to. And what I am becoming conscious of is the risk that involves is that somebody somewhere might make a complaint, or my daughter's friends might start listening to have you listened to Kevin Smith podcasts?
I haven't, no, but I can imagine. I was trying to get Theo to watch some of his stuff, actually.
Well, in one podcast, he basically goes into great detail of him and his wife are in a hotel. He wants to fuck her. She says no. So while she's putting her makeup on, she pulls her arse cheeks apart while he wanks off over it.
Right. Now, to put that out, it's fair enough when you're Kevin Smith, the movie director. You can sort of get away with shit like that. Yeah.
But if you're Joe Bloggs, the normal person from down the street, and you're putting out there to the world that your wife stands in front of the mirror with her arse cheeks apart whilst you wank off, you've got to have a big set. That's a fucking risk. Because the wrong content or topic or conversation on a podcast could bring you down, couldn't it?
Well, this is my daughter has has
Not my
probably
daughter.
quite sensibly
Your daughter.
avoided being on much of our content because being in like doing acting courses and stuff like that, there's it's obviously it's not like highly likely, but there's a chance that she could become not famous necessarily, but she, being in the public eye possibly.
Or the next role that she takes.
Everything, everything, yeah, everything on YouTube is there.
Well, yeah,
and stays there. Like,
I mean, that's a big risk starting this channel financially and time wise. That takes up a lot of our time and work.
I mean, what if you apply to CERN and they look you up? Because employers do this now. They look your profiles up and and they come across breaking bollocks.
Online. I don't know. I think they'd have a good laugh.
You're leaving well, this is the thing now. Kids are so desperate to get onto social media. And we remember when Facebook was born. And you remember you used to see, it used to be Craig is. So Craig is having a shit.
Yeah.
Craig is having a piss.
Yeah.
Craig is wanking over the corpse. And
is he now?
Again.
All that stuff is searchable.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And it's all there, just buried away on the... And if somebody wants to find it, they can find it. So trying to put that across to your 13-year-old...
See, when I first got connected online at home back in the year 2001, I think it was through NTL, we're doing the cable service, and they gave us an email address that has your name as part of the email address. And at that point, I was so, what do you call it? Careful. I just thought that you shouldn't have, you shouldn't be identifiable online. When I first went online, I didn't want anything like in my email address that could identify me in case you could.
No, that's right, yeah.
I remember actually being in a chat room with somebody and freaking them the fuck out because they were totally anonymous, but I managed to get enough information from them in a perfectly innocent conversation to basically pinpoint where they lived, like just in having a conversation with a stranger in the chat room. And I didn't do it to like be freaky or anything. I just said to them, Do you happen to have a stream like outside, at the bottom of your garden? They're like, yeah. How do you know that? And I'm like, I basically worked out exactly where they lived, and they were like, and I said that's how easy it is to actually find someone. So like
the fucking terrifying thing, because I think this was.
But people just say all this shit on Facebook now. What if the wrong person sees it and decides they're going to come round and teach you a lesson?
That's because you never really know what the future holds. I mean, there's been quite a bit about this. So we're thinking of around about what's his name, Brett Kavanaugh, and his being appointed to the Supreme Court in the US, and
pardon me,
the main person testifying against him, I think Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, has been doxxed everywhere online. She's had to move houses several times because people keep sending her death threats and finding out where she's living based on minimal information and just basically hacking her.
I think that's what happened to Tim Tracker.
What's that?
He's a Disney blogger, isn't he? Vlogger.
Yeah. And just through a bit of like the trees outside his house and the shape of his fence, the shape of his garden, people could find him on Google Maps.
Yeah.
So they had to move out. And that's just a Disney blogger. That's a risk. It's a definite risk putting yourself out there.
It's weird. I mean, I don't know what your sort of listenership is on. I suspect Diz After Dark's the biggest show on the network. Don't know what your regular listenership is, but obviously you're not a celebrity, but you're semi. There are a fair few people who know you who've never met you.
Well, it's quite bizarre. I mean, Simon Isbell was the first one who fucked me in the arse.
I don't know if you've heard this story.
What?
We were basically
Hi, Simon.
Oh yeah.
Hi, Simon. We're in the Bill and Ted Theatre watching the last ever Bill and Ted show. We walks out. Me and Nick are recording Everybody's Got One. We're just finishing up, and this fella comes up to us because he heard my voice and was like, "Are you Craig from Diz After Dark?" And it just fucking freaked the fuck out of me. But
We should get everyone on.
and then get everyone on in the world. Yeah. And then it happened in Primark.
Yeah.
Primark. What's the other one?
I think you said it was Primark, didn't you?
Was it Primark?
I think, yeah. That's what you said.
Next.
No. One of them cheap ones.
It's Primark.
And basically, I was talking to the lady about buying a jacket, and this fella's standing behind us. And then he come up and introduced himself, and he was a listener of Morlando. And he just heard me cut my voice in a shop.
Was that in Liverpool, though?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Dude, that seems weird. Because I could get in America, it was like, you hear a Liverpudlian accent. Is that Craig? Because it's going to be quite rare there, isn't it? I don't. Yeah. I mean, out of all the Liverpudlians that go to America, you're probably quite low.
Is that right? Liverpudlian.
Yeah. That's spot on. That, yeah.
Good.
Fucking dog's bollocks, him. Dog's bollocks.
I've been to Liverpool, but not since I was very young. The only thing I can remember about it, because my brother was a choir boy.
Oh, dear.
He was a chorister at Leeds Parish Church, and where's
this going?
Well, I think it might have been. It was definitely a cathedral. Is there like a kind of octagonal shaped kind of cathedral?
Yeah.
Quite modern.
Yeah,
At least it was. Yeah, I remember that. Is that where you go?
Well, that's where we have our super events when we go up to heaven and that.
All right. Okay.
That's the cathedral. We've got two cathedrals. We've got a Proddy one and a Catholic one. If you want a cathedral, we've got one to spare in me Liverpool home. Oh. Shit your ass. That was a fucking risk. To fucking shit yourself.
Oh, Jesus. Pardon me. This is descending into chaos, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I feel like we're probably coming up to full time.
I'm happy to wind it up. I'm tired now, boys.
I bet you are.
That eye's gone all droopy. I don't know if I'm having a stroke.
That would be a good one on podcast live, wouldn't it?
Would it?
Why am I laughing? Okay, well, it's been a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, I don't remember. Have me on again. We'll talk about something else.
Well, when I was saying we should get everyone on, I mean, we should maybe look into the possibility of getting more people on. Like, it would have been good to have had Simon on for a bit of a banter and get Nick on. We're supposed to be having like a big round robin thing, aren't we? But it just never seems to happen.
It will. It'll happen. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
It'll be a risk, but it'll pay off.
So, do we announce what the next episode's about before we finish? Or
masturbation. The next episode is about masturbation.
I'll add that to the topic list. But no, it's not about that.
Diarrhea.
No.
I'm just going to guess. Semi-detached houses.
No.
I'm trying to remember. Can you remember?
Yeah.
Frogs. Frogs.
It's not extortion, is it?
No. Exploitation.
Exploitation.
I like a little bit of exploitation.
Which reminds me, we just watched Return of the Jedi.
Do that noise. Meow.
Meow.
Can you do it? Can you do it too?
Meow.
Meow.
Why is your camera jiggling up and down?
I'm mowing into my sock.
Yeah. Princess Leia, sex slave.
Oh, fuck.
Was she a sex slave, or was she just a slave?
Do you know what I was quite disappointed about? I haven't seen Return of the Jedi for years, and I don't think I've ever seen this version. It's been special editioned up to fuck, and I was so disappointed that the Ewoks song changed at the end.
I don't know. I think that's the only version that I've actually seen.
You're not a major
so
Star Wars fan, are you?
I wouldn't know.
I like Star Wars. I don't remember the song changing.
Yeah, the music's changed.
Yeah, stuff like that doesn't bother me.
I mean, I like the way they've added in all the extra shots of the different planets in the...
Yeah, because it goes like to Coruscant and Naboo and stuff, and
Yeah, that wasn't in it before, but there was a completely different...
where they're celebrating the
tune.
fall of the Empire.
And I can hear it in my head. But I'm not going to try and sing it because it's just wrong.
I need to watch that then.
Yeah, it's the one that's on Sky at the moment, so I don't know, it's probably the latest kind of remake.
Is Hayden Christensen in the new Star Wars film?
Which one? The what? The what, number 8? Or the new one that's about to come out?
The new one that's been out for 2 weeks now. Come on, boy.
Been out for 2 weeks? Where?
Well, this is the 2nd of January.
Oh yeah, fucking hell, sorry.
Oh, well, we're actually going to see this. We'll kind
tomorrow.
of like at midnight tomorrow after we're recording this, so we'll find out.
Because the rumor is that he's in it.
I would.
Isn't the Emperor back in it?
I mean,
Yeah.
it looks.
He's in
like
the trailer, isn't he? Like his voice.
Yeah. It might just be an answer phone.
I don't know. It might be that Force Ghost.
I'm
one.
interested to see what Disney do with it going forward, and I'm really excited to watch The Mandalorian, and I think we should stop the podcast before Craig falls asleep with his cock in his hand. Again.
That's not my cough.
That happened to a friend of mine.
What?
The bass player in our band woke up in the morning and his wife had come in and he was sat in front of the TV on the sofa, he'd fallen asleep with his... Yeah. Sorry, Steve.
I don't think you're at liberty to share that.
Share it. Just share that one soundbite.
That's a risk. There we go. We'll finish off with a
that's a
risk.
risk.
We'll finish off with a risk.
No.
That's a fucking risk.
This is how I find out if the fucker listens.
I have nothing to do with this.
I've never been caught bumming dogs. There's a risk.
You've never been caught bumming dogs. Well, I'm glad. Neither have I. Good for us.
Must be a very different proposition between a Chihuahua and a Great Dane, though.
Oh, two
You
different
should get
ring sizes.
crossbreeds of them.
Crossbreeds of Chihuahuas and Great Danes?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's got to be artificially inseminated, surely.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd like to see it.
you'd split one, wouldn't you?
Which one, though?
The Chihuahua would split in half.
Yeah. Do the Great Dane if it was me.
Yeah. Oh, can I say cue the music at the end and you put a tune in?
Oh, I'd have to find one.
No, we don't do that. Well, we do the da whatever it is.
Yeah, we've got an end.
Yeah, that'll do. I like that.
But
I like your
then
end.
we have to do it. We have to do right. Well, we have to do an
They
outro
look
bit as
fucking
well.
weird.
What the fuck is that?
It looks just like a tiny Great Dane.
Great Dane Chihuahua mix puppy.
Ugh.
Hang on.
Just eat it.
What is that? That looks like an accident. Anyway, we should say goodbye.
Goodbye.
From Scotland to that other place.
Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool's all right. Just like
Good night.
Yorkshire's all right, but
Tonight, boys, we've had a lot of laughs.
Liverpool and Yorkshire should annex themselves and join Scotland.
The South can go fuck itself.
Fuck off the south.
London's not bad, I don't think.
It's full of nonsense. London is full of nonsense.
Yeah, just cut out the Westminster bit.
I found that interesting. Boris Johnson actually
starting up
voted
again
in
now.
Westminster instead of his own constituency because that's his actual residence.
He's a fucking prick.
Bojo. Right, well, enjoy your vodka-induced sleep, and we'll say goodbye, and then we'll do something funny for the outro.
Oh my god! I just thought of
He's
it.
starting again.
Have you ever seen Horrible Histories, Craig?
Horrible histories.
Well, there's a parody of
No.
the Addams Family there, and it's the Borgia family, but I just thought of the Bojo family.
He's
The
off his
Bojo.
fucking head. It's
The Bojo
family.
Yeah, the Bojo family. The scary and the
Say
mobs,
goodbye.
the blonde and the
Say
twat.
goodbye. Say goodbye. Say goodbye.
Bye, boys.
I've
Like-
been-
See, when he turns 18 and he gets taken to his first strip club, he's not going to know what's happening.
I'm not. No, I object to that,
Oh,
especially by you.
They've got a really good one in Abalawa, actually.
I don't care.
Arbalower. I was right.
Gives a new definition to the meaning of shortbread.
Hamsters stripping.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Little animal strippers.
We've got a new podcast idea here.
No, we have not.
Right, boys.
Let's
Been a
finish this
pleasure.
before we commit a crime.
Let's shave a sheepdog.
Oh, yeah.
Pardon me.
Let's crush a grape.
Let's
I want to stop this now.
Veet. Right, okay.
See you later, boys. Ta-ta.
Wait,
sorry,
you need to do the outro
properly.
first. I've been Firebolt,
I've been the Orbiter.
And I've been the Podfather.
and
Fuck off.
this had been episode 52 of Breaking Bollocks.
Risk.
Risk.
And now the podcast is over, so we can talk bollocks again, proper bollocks,
Oh.
without committing a crime. Because this
He's
will
gonna
only
fall
go
asleep.
out to people that pay.
Have you ever needed the shit so bad that it's right on your G-spot? And when it comes out, you come a little...
No.
Have you ever seen Still Game?
Yes, I've watched them all.
Yeah, we're working our way through them at the moment. Fantastic
Oh,
stuff.
classic television, my friend.
Imagine what.
Hurdy-gurdy-gurdy.
Hurdy-gurdy-goo. Absolute. Oh, so sad at the end.
Oh, don't say that. We haven't finished it yet.
Oh, so happy at the end. There's a fucking risk.
Oh, Jesus, somebody's got to die, aren't they? For fuck's sake. See, I told you it was a risk doing this.
Right,
We'll
later,
give you a
boys.
shout. Hopefully we'll coincide with availability again at some point.
Yeah,
And I'll
definitely.
put a
I'd
shout
love it.
out, see if anybody else is up for the challenge.
Get Nick on and have a topic of bellendery.
Yeah, I feel like he'd be good at that.
Now, Nick, if you are listening to this at any point,
He will.
don't take this the wrong way. But I always get you
No.
confused with Ben, and it's really annoying because I always think when I hear Nick, oh, he's a knob, and I was like, no, he's not actually.
Well, they're both knobs, but in different ways.
Well, see,
Nah, Nick's all right.
our Twitter account I'm not sure if it still does.
He started again. He's going to fuck off to bed.
Okay,
Just unfollow him.
I think I did in the end because he
Who better not
started tweeting about. I think a Chick-fil-A, who's a company that funds various homophobic things, including Ugandan campaigns that are.
He's trying to go to bed, look. Let him go to bed. He's been up since 3 o'clock.
Borderline torture at some points, I think. But yeah, some people had protested by basically lying on the floor, representing
Just shoot them.
dead bodies, and he'd gone, "Oh, they're being so dramatic. We fought wars and whatever."
Yeah, just fuck him off. Right, later, boys.
Yes.
Ta-ta,
Have a good sleep.
And you.
Bye. How do I turn this fucker off?
He's so old. It's done it for you.
Now we can do a proper outro.
No, we can't. Oh, I've twisted myself round.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Oh, this is getting worse.
That's what she said.
I'm being dragged down.
That's what she said.
This podcast is part of the After Dark Podcast Network.